Mando. That was the cue.
Oh, okay, that's the cue. We had discussed a cue. Anyways, holy shit. Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the Infernal Brotherhood of Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders review of The Mandalorian.
Dun,
Season 1, Episode 1, and fucking only 2 pairs of panties ruined. God damn.
Those are good odds. I like that.
Yeah, I only had to throw away 1 pair. The other one I could clean.
Oh, man. I'd like to give a shout out to Josh. Thanks for joining us on this here exploration of a episode. Chapter 1, as it were.
Hell yeah.
I do have a bit of a problem with the naming conventions because it's Season 1, Episode 1, Chapter 1.
I get it from a storytelling narrative. Like, it's... like some authors will do that where you get your different chapters, you get your different books, then the subsequent chapters rather, right. And then different subsections of said chapters. So I get it. I don't hate it.
Right. I just figure it tells something about the intention behind the storytelling. Mm-hmm. Because, with every other review we've ever done, with every other TV series we've ever reviewed, it's always titled specifically about the context of that episode. This is very interesting because it's taken a cue from the films, but breaking it down to a more granular novella type method. I don't know. I think it has something to do with the way that it's going to proceed, rather than being this overarching sort of bombastic story that sort of jumps around. This is solely a story, a novel about the Mandalorian.
Well, and it makes sense, especially given that the first season's only going to be 8 episodes. Like, you would want to kind of solely focus on building the character and then going from there. Because, of course, before it was even, aired, we already got a season 2 greenlit. So we definitely have another season coming.
Yeah, and if we're basing it just on this first episode alone, I concur. I agree.
I'm fucking sold.
All right, so let's get into this episode. Chapter 1 was filled with all sorts of goodies, and we're going to frickin' nerd out, but let me get the plot points down before we do so. We got a lot to cover here. We actually begin at the tail end of a bounty hunt for the Mandalorian. He goes into this sort of Old West bar, which is on this sort of desolate ice planet, and his mark is being roughed up by these 2 other guys. You don't realize it's his mark at first, which I thought was very interesting and a wonderful way to break into the character, but it's the same combat sequence we've seen from virtually every TV spot, where he's just sort of kicking people's asses, and you see the Corran get cut in half. And then we meet his mark, which is just fantastically cowardice and is a little bit too smart for his own good, I would say, as he tries to talk his way into learning more about the person that's holding him. There was just so many little notes. I want to hit the broad strokes really quick, and then we can go back and hit the minutia, as it were. So he delivers this new mark to the Bounty Hunters Guild with like 4 other marks that he's already captured.
Yeah.
It's fucking badass. And then he, of course, no one wants to pay Bounty Hunter Guild prices, and so people are sort of going off on their own freelance stuff. So there's not a whole lot of work for bounty hunters, except for one that the bounty hunter wants to go after. It turns out to be an old Imperial remnant, I don't know, officer.
That's a Moff.
Is it a Moff?
Considering it's Werner Herzog, I would imagine he would have to be a fucking Moff. Okay. If he's anything shy of a Moff, I'd be disappointed.
Okay, so Werner Herzog, which we don't actually know anything about him. The only name we get in that entire event is Dr. Parsing, who wants whatever the mark is to be alive. We know it's 50 years old. We know the sector of space he's going to be in, and the rest is kind of up to the Mandalorian if he is to take the job. He's offered some Veskar, which was reclaimed in what's called the Purge. We don't know what that means as of yet, but we're going to speculate here in just a minute. He takes that Vescar and accepts the job, takes it to a secret underground lair of Mandalorians where the Mandalorian blacksmith makes a pauldron for him, reveals that he is himself, I want to get
Foundling.
A foundling, thank you. I have like so many notes I'm trying to like, sort through. A foundling, and that the excess Vescar will go into supporting other foundlings, which is a very interesting thought as well. His sigil has not yet been released. They didn't say sigil, but it was fuck
Yeah,
me.
I forgot what it was.
Was it? It was signet. Has not yet been revealed, but it will be soon, she says, or he says. Not yet, she says it will be soon. Okay, so we're getting a notice that they've detected copyright video in our stream, so I don't know if this is going to remain. We'll fight it in the morning and we'll win, but for now, we'll go on. He gets his shiny new pauldron. There's all sorts of stuff in there we still need to talk about, but quickly, he goes off to the planet where the mark is supposed to be at. He gets assaulted by these wonderful little local creatures, almost gets his ass kicked if it weren't for a local rancher who darts them and stuns them, teaches him how to ride one of the creatures, and leads him to the mercenaries' lair, who is holding, or where the bounty is held up at. We don't know anything about them. We just know that the reason why the rancher is helping him is because people go to this planet to have peace and quiet. And as long as these mercenaries are here, many bounty hunters are trying to come and get them, and mercenaries are coming in to and from the planet, leaving too much, the lack of peace, too much hectic shit.
They're cunts. That's the gist of it.
Leads the Mandalorian to the area, and the Mandalorian realizes, oh shit, there's an IG bounty hunter droid already walking into camp. So he rushes down, gets shot at by the IG droid. They decide to team up in order to find the mark, and they get assaulted by the entire encampment at once. The IG droid is realizing they are overwhelmed and repeatedly tries to set the self-destruct sequence. All the while, Adam is shouting at the TV, "Stop trying to destroy yourself, goddammit! You can make it out!" And Shauna, my wife, is laughing hysterically at me.
I was having a hard time trying to be nice and not, yell profanities, because the first time I watched this, I was at a nice Mormon household.
Oh, really?
And it was the middle of the night when, their kids were asleep. So it was hard.
It was so goddamn good. So they finally oh yeah, by the way, this is a spoiler. I hope people understand that.
Okay, if you guys are fucking listening to this and you haven't seen it yet, turn this shit off, watch the show, then listen to this.
Yeah, I've already spoiled a whole lot for you. Like the whole
thing. You've already got the bulk of the episode. Shit's gonna get real.
So they defeat all of the mercenaries. They bust their way through the door, find this Star Wars crib of sorts, open it up, and it's a 50-year-old Yoda-type species baby. The IG droid says, my employers were very specific not to want this thing alive, and the Mandalorian shoots him because the Mandalorians, people who hired him, said they wanted him alive, but bounty hunter's a sticky thing. Maybe it's dead, just give us proof. Mm-hmm. So clearly the two realize they're working for two different clients, which is very important. So now that we're at the end of the episode, let's reverse all the way to the very beginning. What did you think of this episode? What were the things that stood out to you at first?
Jesus Christ. So
good.
God,
how can you go from fucking Resistance to this?
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. The only thing, I'll just start off with what I didn't like right now. I don't like the new Star Wars logo intro thingy. I'm going to say it.
Oh, like the Marvel thing?
Yeah, like the Marvel thing. I don't like that.
Thing.
That is the only thing I didn't like about this episode. Other than that, holy shit balls. It starts off strong. You get cameos from people that you're just like, how the fuck did they start? Like, how are they in Star Wars now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fucking Mark, it's Horatio Sands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit. And then the fucking guy that's transporting them from the cantina to his ship out on the outskirts. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. Like, how?
It was so good. Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
that can't be him. And then he starts talking, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
he's one of us.
My
I'm
wife's
so
like,
glad.
I know who that is. Who is that? I was like, oh, he was in this and this and this. She's like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, you know who that is.
Yeah, everybody knows who he is, even if they don't know who he
So
is.
good. Oh
Um,
gosh.
God, and then, oh my God, when Werner Herzog like first popped on the screen, like I hadn't looked up anything like cast, cameos, anything like that. I just wanted to go in completely fresh, other than obviously the battle in the cantina, which we had all seen ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things when the client shows up, I about shit myself. And the note that I have is, shit is serious when Werner Herzog is cast in it. And I was just like shitting myself, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, hopefully he's a reoccurring character because fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, the TKs were beautiful. Like, it's because this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is 6 years after Return, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, because it's like a year after Aftermath or 5 years, whatever. It's a while after.
Well, the Aftermath novels are going on right now, like concurrently.
Okay, see, that's what I thought, but I was arguing with somebody about that last night, so I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing the TKs all dirty to shit, like that's exactly what they would look like that long after with no remnant. And nice little detail about it. This is for the people that, along with me, are pushing their glasses up right now. Those are all perfectly screen accurate versions of the stunt, or fuck, I think it's the stunt, but the Return of the Jedi TKs, which there's a lot of little subtleties to them, like the differences. So I was clapping like an idiot when I saw that.
Oh wow.
God, just fucking everything about this. We got Kowakian monkey lizards.
Oh my gosh, roasting, and then one of them watching it.
Yeah, oh my God, and
so good.
Basically, seeing that, it's like, oh great, now I got to come up with a couple $100 because the guy I adopted my monkey from is probably going to start making those, and I have to have.
Well, let me quickly jump in because I've run Jawas. Josh is saying rummaging through scrap. We got a lot of really wonderful tie-ins. We saw tons of alien species that we hadn't seen for a very long time, and it was just so wonderful. What I wanted to bring up is I've heard a lot of people complain, light complaints, I have to be honest about it, but complain that this was fan service, and I have to say, what the fuck is wrong with fans? Look, if I happen to be a fan of blowjobs, let's just, for argument's sake, say that I'm a fan of blowjobs. Why would it be a bad thing if my wife gave me blowjobs? That's fan service. It's what I want. It's what I expect. It's what she's giving to me. Why is that a bad thing? So in equal consideration, why is it bad that we're seeing the Star Wars things that we love? And why is it bad that that's fan service? I just can't stand that so much. We've been starving since Rogue One and a little bit of Solo for stuff like this. And now we're giving it like with no like give me $7 and I will give you everything you want. And we do it and we get it. Why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like so in complete honesty, like the only stuff I've really seen has just been people like nerdy purists bitching about costume decisions. Like the biggest thing I keep seeing is the fact that the Mandalorian's chest plate is a solid piece instead of separate pieces put together. But I've got my own fucking theories on that, so they're idiots and need to shut up.
Well, he's clearly collecting his suit.
Well, and not only that, but you look at the damage that the Blurg did to his gauntlet.
Oh yeah.
Like even if it was just regular plasteel, there's no way in hell that creature's gonna fucking chomp it up like that. So, like, I just imagine that they're pieces that are made on a budget because obviously this is well after the Mandalorian War, like the Purge, where everything's destroyed, the Empire takes all their resources.
I want to talk about that really quick if I can interrupt.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I want to talk about the Purge because as soon as he gets that Vescar from his brand new gig, he takes it to the Mandalorian blacksmith who makes a pauldron for him. And he she mentions immediately these were taken in the Purge. Is that what we're going to see in the final Clone Wars conclusion of the TV series?
I think so. I mean, this is the actual final season. not the final season because everybody's getting the kibosh put on it. So
I mean, and
I
we've
would
been
imagine
pretty heavy-handed led to believe that this is going to be the Mandalorian Wars, right? Like this is the end, not the Jedi Mandalorian Wars, but this is the Empire Mandalorian Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just imagine that's what it's going to be. Like the end of it, it's going to show them, their planet likely being destroyed, all their resources being sapped, and just being a completely disbanded, people.
Which then explains why they weren't around for the trilogy, the OG, and why they're just now showing up after the original trilogy. So I like this theory. I think it's going to end up proving out. The fact that he was a refugee, I think, is very interesting, and that they recognize that there's other child refugees out there of Mandalorian culture. And Josh,
okay, see, I don't know if I believe that he's a born Mandalorian and is a refugee, because I think they might be pulling some from the legends. Like, all Mandalorians had to do to become a Mandalorian was say they were a Mandalorian. And like, if there's a war going on, there's Mandalorians around, and they find children, they're, obviously if parents are gone or if they're in a bad position, they'll take them, and immediately they're their children. So I think that might be what foundling is.
See, this is very interesting, because this is the way that Scottish culture existed for thousands of years. Is you had your clan, you didn't necessarily have to be married or born into the clan. If you swore fealty to the clan and fought on its behest, then you were a part of the clan. I think that, to your point, is exactly what he's going to be doing. Whether or not he's Mandalorian birthed by parents, I don't know, and I'm not entirely sure is as important. But he's definitely Mandalorian in the fact that they have adopted him. He has accepted it, and he's moving about his life as one. One thing that I want to bring up, because it was so evident early on, is almost a gamification of the series so far. He does a job, gets paid, gets a piece of armor, goes on to do another job to hopefully get paid to get more pieces of armor. Like, this is a very gamification way of approaching it. And I don't know, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Given that I think this is going to be sort of him almost coming into his own, even though Mandalorians are like fully self-actualized people pretty much from birth. I really think this is essentially going to be him, building his Beskar, like building his legacy, and going towards him becoming a part of a clan. Like, that's why his pieces, like his bucket and his pauldron, like, they don't have colors on them, because he doesn't have a clan. He's a Mandalorian, yes, but he doesn't know where he belongs.
But do you think his signet reveal will mean his clan affiliation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going by Mandalorian standards, even stuff that's not in the EU, like the legends, like even stuff that's sort of been, talked about and stuff, like during Rebels and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that might be what it is. But yeah, I don't necessarily see a problem with that, because we're going to get fun, stupid adventures in between. And it's ironic, you mentioned the game stuff, considering like all the CG stuff, it's all gaming engines that are producing those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that's how they're keeping the budgets down. Is instead of having like a massive company behind it, they're just, hey, here's the engines we already have. Let's just use
I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah, I found that out last night, and it's like, makes sense.
I'll buy it. It looks great.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, fucking look at all the cutscenes for like the Old Republic and whatnot.
Oh,
I mean, those are films. Period. It just so happens to be, a cutscene in a video game.
Yeah.
So,
well, I like what Josh is asking in here. He's saying he has no idea what direction the story is going to take. He's earning his armor. It looks like the only legit armor pieces are his pauldrons and helmet. He'll get more as the series progresses. I do honestly think that we're going to end season 2 with him getting his last final piece of armor, and either the end of season 1 is going to be him adopting a paint scheme, or the beginning of season 2 is going to be him adopting a paint scheme.
Yeah, I think, considering we got, Jon Favreau posting pictures of the bucket. They started shooting season 2 today.
Man.
and it was completely clean. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the beginning of next season, not the end of the season.
I'm down with that. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I do want to bring up a couple of quick notes here. I love I love the Life Day reference at the very beginning. That was fantastic.
I'm so glad that's canon now.
Yeah. Fucking Life Day is a thing, people. Favreau loves it. He actually asked if he could do a Star Wars holiday special, and the rumors I've heard is he was rejected. But
and yet, no one's surprised.
Yeah. The Razor Crest, the Mandalorian ship, is a pre-Empire ship. We're talking prequel era ships.
Yeah.
And again, it makes sense because the Mandalorian himself, his moment of crisis as a being happened when he was abandoned during the Clone Wars, which is why he hates droids, which feeds into his entire persona as we see him and experience him in this first episode. Grief Karga as the Bounty Hunter Guild Master, I thought was great.
Oh yeah. Okay. There's disappointment number 2.
Oh shit.
I was hoping when he showed up with the tracking beacons, he would stand up and they would just grab forearms and just stare at each other with smiles. Not for any other reason than I could just go, yeah.
You just wanted them to run on a beach with half shirts?
You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
I don't.
Fucking Predator.
I'm not a big Predator guy. I don't know the references.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. This is the last episode of the Infernal Brotherhood, Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. Jesus Christ.
Come on. Come on.
Well, fine. Since you don't get the reference, I guess we can move on.
Okay. You know what? I promise you I will watch, not before Friday, but when the next Mandalorian episode breaks. But I will watch The Predator, and then I will try to understand the comments. I have seen it. It was just I saw it once as a kid, and it just didn't connect with me like it did to some people. And
That's fair.
I just never really reconnected with it. Can I ask, is it a little crazy? He has his own carbonite chamber in his fucking ship?
No. I was actually discussing that last night with the couple that I was watching the show with. So if you think about it,
like a sex watch?
No, nothing that exciting. We were all
Mormon sex watch?
No, basically my wife doesn't love me enough to watch things with me, so no. So if you think about it, this is what 10, 15 years after Empire, if I'm not mistaken. So when Han Solo was frozen in carbonite, that's the first time that they had ever successfully done that to a living being. Obviously, the criminal underground and even the Empire, they're going to realize that technology is extremely fucking useful and likely mass produce it so they have ease of transportation. So I bought it immediately that he'd have something on his ship because, I mean, fuck, that's the first thing I would do.
Dude, Cloud City had a huge chamber.
Yeah, but technology, it develops fast. Like, as soon as there's something there, there's always going to be somebody that's going to push it to see how much they can change it.
There was a Steve Jobs of carbonite.
There you go. So I buy it completely that he'd have it on his ship.
I didn't pitch a fuss. I just, when I saw it, I was like, he must be fucking rich.
Yeah.
Like, that was my reaction. He must be really wealthy. He must be good at what he does.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's part of what it showed too. Like what the setup was is obviously this motherfucker's got his shit together. If he can, having one of those just on his ship all willy nilly, and he's got 4 other people just chilling in the rafters.
Oh, I love that too. When the Mark realized that he was like, oh shit, I'm not the only one. Oh shit, this guy is the real deal. I did want to bring up the music really quick.
Oh my God, yes.
It is not anything I would ever, on its face, expect from a Star Wars anything. But it fits so perfectly for me. Like, first of all, I love old school Westerns. I really enjoyed Rogue One and Solo music. And so this was just sort of a stripped down version of those. and I really enjoyed it. I thought it fit really well. What'd you think?
See, I didn't have any problem going from, having a John Williams score to what we had, where essentially, I mean, there was a bunch of electronic shit in there. I think it sort of sets the tone for what they can do from here on out as far as like scores are concerned, because you think so heavily, like anytime you think John Williams, you think like the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, so forth and so on. Like, he's so set in the Skywalker saga that it makes sense that they would go a different direction with everything outside the Skywalker saga. And I'm not gonna lie, if they put out an album of the score for this, I'm gonna fucking buy it. I loved it, especially when he gets to the planet where the blurgs are, and where what's his bucket?
The real desert-esque.
Yeah, when he got there,
Western
like
planet.
I fucking love that music.
And no, I thought it was great. I thought it was 100% just on point, just great.
Oh yeah.
IG-11. Is he dead? Are we gonna see him again?
No, I guarantee he fucking rebuilds him.
I hope. I loved that character. It was such a beautiful connection of him saying, according to you must hand over blah blah blah, and then he shoots the Mandalorian. He's like, I'm in the guild. He's like, well, clearly I have the mark. He's like, you don't have the body. He's like, you are correct. And he's like, you're okay for a droid. Agreed. Just him battling and the constant, I'm ready to self-destruct. No, don't.
It's so good.
So goddamn good. To lose him like that, I understand why the Mandalorian would do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, one, it's so layered. I want to go over this really quick if we can. It's layered because, one, he wants to get the Beskar back. He wants he's promised a cache of Mandalorian Beskar. Why would he not do everything he can to bring in the mark to get the most back? So that makes sense. Two, he's got heart. He's clearly got heart.
Oh yeah, well he's a fucking Mandalorian. I mean, that's such a strong culture about protecting children. Like, even if they're not yours, like, you do whatever the hell you want to everybody else but the children.
Yeah.
So
it was just so goddamn good. And then he worked hand in hand with this person, but when it comes to his payday, or whatever the reason was, whether it was a baby, or whether a 50-year-old baby, or whether it was the job, he had to end his rival, the person that was trying to end it. I like that he didn't even question.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is a character that is fully formed mentally and is trying to fully form as a individual. Like, we see this when he's failing at trying to ride the blurgs, and old boy is like, look, you Mandalorians, you used to ride dinosaurs. Why can't you ride this? And he was like, all right, I'm going to give it another go. And he gets on and he does it. Like,
yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
So he's clearly needing to be reminded of his legacy in order to live up to it. But the point is, he's trying to live up to it. He's not trying to be a bounty hunter. He's trying to be a Mandalorian bounty hunter, which is, I think, interesting. Is this going to reveal, in your opinion? I mean, we knew he was a refugee. Is this going to reveal that he's not inherently Mandalorian, but he wants to become one? Or he's just masquerading as one because it's his only means of survival?
Oh, there's no way in hell he's going to walk into a den of Mandalorians not being a Mandalorian and walk out. I find that extremely hard to believe.
Hey, really quickly, did you see Boba Fett in there?
No.
I saw... When he first comes in that Mandalorian den, there's a guy hanging out right next to the exterior door, and then it switches to a further away view. He walks past that dude, and he walks past another guy who is in Boba Fett looking armor. Like, I don't mean the armor, which is Mandalorian, but as Josh is saying, similar paint scheme to Boba Fett.
Yeah, but you read Aftermath. There is a bounty hunter, like there's a Mandalorian that's wearing the same fucking color scheme and everything.
Yeah, he became like a sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that could be him, or this is just a nod, or this is just a paint scheme for a clan, or?
See, that is kind of where I would be more leaning, is that it's a paint scheme for a clan.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck, who knows? Maybe it actually is Boba Fett. But then again, if it is actually Boba Fett, well, I guess really all he'd have to do is redeem himself to be considered a Mandalorian. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again tonight on a bigger screen and up close so I can see.
I've only seen it twice, and both times I made sweet love to my TV. It was so goddamn good. I'm starting to wonder, because we've been spurned so much with Star Wars series, that some of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call any of them great, but some of them are really good. Some of them are really bad. This is like theatrical release good, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
I think this is up with Solo, and in some cases beats out Solo, in my opinion.
I would agree with that, to be honest.
So let's talk about guessing what's going to happen, because we were really left with.
I want to bring something up. Okay. I don't know how the fuck it hasn't been brought up yet. Can we talk about him going Rambo with the fucking E-Web?
Rambo with the E-Web.
Yeah, at the very end when they're taking out the fortress, that
awesome.
Giant Gatling gun. That was the best part of this goddamn episode. Aside from Baby Yoda, I was clapping like an idiot the first time I saw that. It just
both times. The first time I was shouting at my wife, "That's how you do it! That's how you do!" And the second time at my daughter, in the same tone, in the same way. And they were just awesome. Like, "What is wrong with you?"
They just don't understand.
No, clearly, because that was the baddest. Oh, first of all, when he threw his little hand grappling hook and just jerked it aside, then blasted the guy that was manning it, and then ran up. Okay, first of all, that was great, but there was a moment after that I thought was just as boss, when they're like, "Now we just have to get to the door," and then both of them together look at the Gatling gun.
Yeah, that was dope. It's like, yes, this is where this show is going to go. I love it.
They just do so many just wonderful tropes that everyone wants to see, but so few people, like directors, actually let play out. It was just so good.
The way I think it is, of course, we have fans doing this. Like, Jon Favreau is a fan. Dave Filoni is the heir of Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
Just plain and simple. He is the authority on Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned, and for all rights and purposes, everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're finally getting free reign to do just whatever the fuck they want with this, and it shows. The decisions that he makes, they're the decisions that if we were playing a video game like this, we would make those decisions.
Yeah. So
it's great to see that play out.
I want to bring up this thought that I heard earlier today. That Yoda baby, I don't know what else to call it because the species never been named.
Yeah.
Is 50 years old, and that places its birth around the exact same time Anakin was born.
Oh shit.
Right. So what the fuck?
Shit. Oh my god, what if that was the balance?
What if Anakin was a mistake and this Yoda creature was the one, but the species just lived too long to see the end? But what does it mean? Okay, so there's two different groups. I just want to lead here really quick. My guess is that there's two different Imperial Remnant factions. One, the one that we were introduced with the Mandalorian, is trying to learn about the Force and, more importantly, about how the Empire lost. The second, which hired the IG-11 droid, just wants to end it all. My wife said that the stream has stopped due to violations. We'll deal with that tomorrow, people.
That's what I got too.
We'll deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what do you think? There's clearly two different groups. One wants it dead. One wants to study it or to end it. I mean...
It makes sense. I mean, this is
but it's just
before
a creature.
the first...
It's a baby, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it so special, do you think?
the fact that we've only got 2 known that ever existed in
Yeah.
history,
Yaddle
and
and
they were
Yoda.
like the single most force powerful creatures that ever
Both were
existed.
on the council.
Yeah, so I, yeah, it makes perfect sense that there'd be different parties wanting to
So is that too
capture
shitty to say that everyone in this species is super bad with the Force?
No,
Because we've only
I would
seen 2?
imagine.
Or do you think it's just like, because, not all humans are amazing with the Force, but we've seen, a handful of them. Not other species are all great, but this one species is like the definitive Force sensitive species. I mean, what if it's a clone? What if it's a clone of Yoda from the battle between the Emperor and Yoda?
Then I would find it hard to believe that it would be
Oh, it couldn't be 50.
50 and still
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
baby.
No, okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, yeah.
Well, no, okay, no, because I guess it depends on how he was cloned. Because of course, Django had cloned himself, but did a natural aging process, and that's how we got Boba Fett. So, I mean, I guess I could see it, but also the Emperor knew that something would happen. So why would he not speed up the process if he
Oh.
knows that it's going to take that long? So I don't know.
So, oh gosh, there's just so many possibilities.
Hmm.
Is it just like a baby that, what if, oh my gosh. So we know that there's Imperial factions out there that want it dead and that want
Hmm.
to study it. And I'm assuming it's an Imperial faction that wants it dead. I don't know who hired
Yeah.
IG. However, where did the fucking mercenaries get it? At what point did these random mercenaries capture this baby species?
Hmm.
Yoda baby. Like that's what I think is more interesting than anything else at this point is how the hell did they like stumble upon this rarest of species in the Star Wars galaxy as far as we know and then sell it off to the highest bidder?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they're not even trying to sell it. It's the Bounty Hunters Guild that found out. So
Mhm.
someone heard that they had it. So did they capture it on behest of like rogue Jedi?
Hmm.
And then bounty hunter or the Imperials caught wind of it and then put out a bounty hunter hit on them? Like they had to have caught it for a reason, right? So
Oh, of
what
course.
is that reason? Like this is the most interesting part. At least to me. What if,
Oh, yeah, no,
is
definitely.
this our first clue that we're going to see Jedi?
I would I would imagine, like, I would be surprised if we don't see him, because even though, yes, there was the Jedi purge and all that shit, there's always going to be people that are force sensitive that pop up and just are naturally, adept with the force. So
And we know Jedi have survived. I mean, we have
yeah,
video games that are in canon right now. It came out. We have novels that have came out.
yeah, yeah. So I'd actually be kind of surprised if we didn't see, a Jedi, or at least, a force sensitive in this series at all.
So, in your own head canon, what does Baby Yoda mean to the overall narrative of this 8-chapter story?
I have no fucking clue. To be honest, I haven't even really thought about it much, other than just the sheer fact. I was like, "Holy shit, there's a Baby Yoda!"
It was so
But
cute
I mean,
too.
as we discuss it, like it is one of those things. Like I almost wonder if this is what's going to end up being the redeemer at the end of this last film. If that's going to be the new, I guess
I'll be
not really
so pissed if at the very
grandmaster.
at the very end of Return of Skywalker, a Yoda baby shows up and he's like, "Away with your weapons! I will kill you all."
I could dig it. I mean, fuck, dude, we've gotten jack shit from these films anyway, so I whatever. At least they'd be making a nod towards this show.
Yeah. All I can say at this point is that no matter how it ends or where we go from here, this first episode has given me more faith than the last 2 movies together. Or the
Yeah.
last 2 Skywalker, sort of saga films together. Like I am so excited and already bought in to the
Mm.
narrative of this from the very first scene that
Oh yeah.
I'm down. Like whatever they want to do, I'm there. I'm going
Oh
to
yeah.
be with you. I don't care. Like I love
Def-
this.
definitely.
That's so good.
Like the thing I kept hearing before I saw it was everybody was telling me that the last 10 minutes of this show was better than the last 5 movies that were made.
Yeah.
And that made me excited. But I will argue that I still think Rogue One is probably the best thing that's happened with this whole reboot of Star Wars. But that's not to say that in another episode or two or the end of the season, I'm going to completely change my mind. But yeah, this is what we've fucking been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's beautiful. It's put together beautifully. The music is beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful. These teasers are showing some amazing like lead-ins.
Mhm.
I'm so excited to see where this goes that I just can't wait till Friday.
Yeah.
It's 2 days.
Yeah.
But it's
Next
really
week's going to be
long.
a son of a bitch
Yeah.
because then we have a solid week.
7 days. Why?
And
Why?
one thing I've noticed that nobody's really talked about is the fucking credits. Like those
that
credits
was
are
so
amazing.
beautiful.
Like I'm always the douchey snob or whatever you want to call it that always watches the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will sit there and almost piss myself during a movie to finish the credits because 1, that's a part of the fucking movie, and 2, all those people did an excellent job. We need to acknowledge them by watching this part.
Yeah.
But this is a whole new way to do credits. Like, there's not going to be an end credits scene or anything, but you have to watch because it's just so gorgeous.
Well, not only during the American, like the English credits, we had those wonderful frescoes that were showing up behind the credits, which I was talking to my wife about. I was like, this is how Leonardo da Vinci painted. Like, this is the method. And so those cracks are age on the paintings. The fact that they would pay homage to that, and I thought it was just such a wonderful thing as an art history sort of nerd that I am. But then they showed Espanol credits. They showed Japanese credits. Like, this is a worldwide contributed project, and I respect the shit out of that. I just love that.
Yeah, I love that stuff like that's acknowledged. Like when Netflix started doing that with their, Spanish or Portuguese or whatever casts and production team and all that. Yeah. Like it's great to see that because it's not just us that are taking care of this shit. Like it's everybody. It's a collective.
Mm-hmm. And it's just an acknowledgement of saying, like, look, this is not a national thing, like a national pride type thing. Like, we are going to give credits to those in their own way that are deserving of said credit. And I never saw that before. And so that's why it just sort of threw me out. Like, the art was beautiful on the English credits. I can't fault that. I loved the style of it. But then seeing the other languages, I just had to sit and just watch until the very end because I respected it so much. That's how much this goddamn episode, this singular episode, 35, 40-minute episode, moved
40 fucking minutes.
Just blew my mind. All right, so let's say you had to rate this. What would you give it?
Oh, man, I'd give it 5 banana stickers out of 4.
5 banana stickers. I'm with you, man. 5 fucking banana stickers. You said 5 out of 4?
5 out of 4, god damn it. Because my rating is by 4 banana stickers.
Oh.
So they get an extra one because god damn it. Made me happy.
An extra banana sticker.
Yes, extra banana sticker. They gotta keep that in their pocket for when they do a shit episode.
They can add an extra banana sticker out of fucking cash. I dig it. All right. You know what? I love it. I'm going to do the cap for banana stickers. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I can't wait for Friday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live with us and sharing your thoughts. If we didn't cover something that you thought was of importance, please let us know in the comments below. This is what we love, is talking about Star Wars, sharing opinions about Star Wars. We do not have to agree on all things, but we love hearing others' perspectives about them because it helps us understand this greater beast of Star Wars galaxy together. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think we got it covered.
All right. In that case, everyone, until Friday, well, I don't know if it's Friday or Saturday or whenever we can get together to do the next review. Until then, may the Force be with you.
I have spoken.
It was so good. I was betting that you were going to do either I have spoken or oh, there's another one. Do you want I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold?
Or I could bring you in cold. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so
No, it was a
good.
toss up. But as soon as I heard him say I have spoken, I was like, all right, that's the fucking winner.
That was Nick
I need to
Nolte,
start
right?
talking like that.